Hello everybody, this is The Mixer. I'm Steven Dumeng here with Kevin Lillis of Victory Combat Sports, and let me tell you, New York State, we're still waiting on that pro MMA, but here we have Victory Combat Sports' 5th show, bringing us some amateur MMA, some best of the best of up-and-comers here on the East Coast, and this is the man that is bringing it in addition to the fighters. What do we have lined up tomorrow?
We have some fantastic fighters. A lot of these guys in New York State, unlike other states, because it's amateur only, they stay amateur for longer. They compete in a lot more grappling tournaments, a lot more Muay Thai. So even though they don't have extensive MMA records, a lot of them have a lot more experience than you would expect out of amateurs, or what you would see in amateurs in states where professional is allowed.
Right. I actually noticed in my interviews that you guys have been watching, a lot of the fighters actually are all undefeated, a lot of up-and-comer prospects that we will definitely be seeing in Bellator, UFC in the near future. What are you trying to cultivate with Victory Combat Sports?
We also do shows in Boston. In Boston, we already had 2 fighters last year go to the UFC. Our 115-pound female champion, Ashley Greenway, just went to Invicta.
Oh, wow.
So we have fighters that are continuing to get recognized. In New York, it's kind of a launch pad, and then as soon as it goes pro, we want to be the first ones to do pro here. We were the first ones here to do legally sanctioned with the WKA, and we want to be the first to do pro here. And we want to give these fighters a home that's worthy of all the training and all the sacrifice they do for their sport.
And as we know, we've had 2 UFC New York champions, Matt Serra, Chris Weidman. So as we all know, there's plenty of gyms, a lot of people looking to get recognized here in New York, and Kevin's bringing us a platform for these fighters, as he just said, to fight and hopefully make a statement so they can build onto a pro career in the UFC, in Bellator, ONE FC. There's a multitude of MMA companies. We're going to have a huge one with Victory Combat Sports once it goes pro, and I'm very excited. I know there's a whole bunch of politics behind it. Hopefully we'll have it in MSG. Do you have any thoughts on when we're going to have it? Any particular situation that you want to have happen as soon as possible?
What really needs to happen is the vote needs to be called. I think a lot of people think that it was voted down. Reality is it was just never voted. They won't allow the vote to happen. And by the unofficial counts of it, they say it's like 85 to 15 it would pass. Governor Cuomo says if it passed and got walked down the hallway to his office, he would pass it in a second. We just need the vote to actually be called. So it's really our government not working and having these fighters, especially in a lot of places in the state, they're fighting unsanctioned. And when they're unsanctioned, they don't have to have blood work. So there's guys who are fighting not knowing if their opponent has hepatitis, their opponent has HIV. We had a fight last year where someone had something go up in blood work and the fight got canceled for that. Wow. Where if he was fighting for somebody that didn't do blood work and didn't pay extra, because we don't have to sanction it. There's a loophole. So they're not protecting fighters. The fighters are going to fight. They're actually keeping the fighters unprotected by doing this.
Wow. That's crazy. Let me tell you, I am one of the huge... I would love, it still strikes me that we're 49 of 50. New York State still hasn't implemented it. And how...
all of Mexico and all of Canada. So it's literally 1% of the land mass of all of North America. We're the one that is that backwards.
I can't believe it. And honestly, how huge, imagine Victory Combat Sports in MSG. How would you feel?
It's going to happen.
You heard it here first.
I'll tell you how I feel when it happens, because it's going to happen.
Very perfect. I know you just mentioned there's going to be a couple more events. Do you have any intentions of running any more New York shows?
Absolutely. We're going to be doing, we have a couple of fights tonight where the matchups of whoever's going to win is going to match up in September.
Oh, okay, so you heard it here. We have it lined up. Victory Combat is going to be the 7th event, possibly? I know you got...
That'll be 7th or 8th.
Okay.
June 20th, we're in downtown Boston. That's a pro card. And then we're looking at one in Burlington, Vermont. If Burlington, Vermont is before New York, it'll be Victory 8. If it's not, it'll be Victory 7. But some of the fights here tonight are #1 contender fights. Well, they'll be fighting for the championship in September, whoever the winner is of tomorrow night's fights.
Very cool. We're hearing it first from the man himself. Last question, I'm just curious. There's a lot of MMA companies, such as your own. Aside from that, just curious, is there any particular MMA fight that you happen to be looking forward to?
Tomorrow? I think Rob and Bernie is going to be an unbelievable fight. I don't know if you guys saw their stare down before, but those guys had to be torn apart. We're like, all right, guys, break. All right, guys, break. And, you know, they both have a lot of experience. Rob has a lot of Muay Thai experience in addition to his MMA experience. Bernardo's undefeated. These guys are very intense. There's a big belt on the line, 24-karat gold-plated, and these guys really want that strap.
Very awesome, very awesome. And is there anything else that we needed to say to the fans and viewers at home?
Tune in. You know, we're hopefully going to be broadcasted in 122 million homes. We hope you guys are going to be there in person. If not, hopefully you'll see us on TV.
I know who will be there. You will be there. I will be there. And hopefully everyone tuning in will be watching. It's going to be an excellent night of fights. Victory Combat Sports. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.